Avnish, thanks very much for taking time. Good morning to you. I want to begin by asking, what are you making of this mega deal? The numbers are staggering. Have you settled, made peace with these numbers just as yet?
It is definitely going to take some time to fully process all the, everything which has been covered in the news, right? All the changes, including the valuation and the transaction and the other changes which are happening in line with that. So I wouldn't say that I have fully processed it, but it's still going on.
Good
All
morning,
right.
Avnish. It's wonderful to join you virtually this morning. And I see you are not in office, and I think it would have been a good day for you to be in office. And if you can cut to your full frame, I think we want to take the honor of being the first ones to play your Aston as CEO and co-founder. And congratulations on being named and designated as the CEO of CaratLane, of course, a company that you co-founded and were an early employee of and continue to be with that. Tell me about the mood in office. What is the sort of rejoicing happening in office?
So actually, one by one, Karthik, I think it's actually my wife's birthday. So, man should not take any chances on your spouse's birthday, right? So, which is why I'm at home. Coming to the other point, see, actually, there was a lot of rejoicing initially because of, it also kind of tells the whole world that how successful we have been, right? To get a valuation like this and to, for the change which Titan is going to make. The second part was that, because this also meant that Mithun was going to leave, there was a lot of sadness and anxiety because of that. Because, people expect that there will be a lot of change, etc. But the good news is that, one is that people feel relieved that there's going to be continuity. The company will continue to operate as an independent entity under the Titan umbrella. Uh, Plus, seeing a known face like me, taking that responsibility also gave a lot of confidence to people. So now they are kind of happy once again, and we are back to focusing on business. So there was a little bit of a high and a low, and then a high. So I think now people are kind of again
All right.
back
I
to the
can't resist
state.
asking you, we'll come back to the mood in office, but the mood at home, what have you gifted your wife? Is it a CaratLane? Is it a Tanishq? Is it a Titan watch? Or is it an
All
eyewear
three of
from the
them.
parent company? Or a mixed basket of all of them?
Actually, I think she's already tired of all the CaratLane products because she's been getting it for the last like 15 years almost, right, on every possible occasion. In fact, there is a, she kind of feels that I don't let her buy anything else other than CaratLane. So, in fact, it might be a good day to give her something other than CaratLane. I'm not going to
Okay.
tell you
Would
right
it
now
would
because
it
it's
be a
still a
Titan brand?
surprise.
Would it be a Tanishq?
I can't, like I said, it's still a surprise because my kids have to come back from school and give it to her. And
Okay.
I definitely don't want to tell it on TV.
Absolutely, absolutely. Avnish, let's move on to the business side of things. You've built a very successful brand, CaratLane, essentially in a jewelry segment which goes and runs on touch and feel policy for the longest time until CaratLane changed the game. What is going to be your game plan for this new? And it's the same entity for you. It's just a change in management, not even a change in management for that matter, but henceforth, with Titan's perhaps greater involvement, what's going to be the action plan, game plan for you? Have you, sort of gone back to the drawing board and jotted something out just as yet, or is it too early?
Actually, see, nothing is going to change, honestly. The fact is that there has been this, acquisition of the remaining shares and moving on, but we already have a 5-year plan in place, which we have been, we are already in that 5-year cycle. So in terms of the plans, whether the financial or business plan, actually nothing changes. It definitely, allows us to find more uh, areas of synergy with the parent entity. So that is anyway something which we have done in many parts of our business over the years, and we will continue to find more areas. But actually, people assume that there's going to be a big change in everything, but there's actually going to be no change, which people might find it hard to believe, but that's the reality. So in that sense, other than the fact that some people have made money and people are happy and so on and so forth, but in reality, nothing changes. So in that sense, there's no rethinking, resetting. We now want to work. We are working on the plan to get to 10,000 crores, and that's what the plan is, and everything is kind of working towards that.
Okay.
So some employees, of course, have made money. Others
Huge
are
money.
likely to make money as well, because I think the extended the balance 1.8% stake is likely to be picked up for anything between 340 to 380 crores as per reports. But Avnish, I want to understand from you, what is the kind of change in pressure when it comes to being part of a large conglomerate like Titan? And this, of course, one of the favorite stocks of even late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. All eyes on every Tata company, and Titan, of course, being a company that every stockbroker out there advises a buy call on. And in fact, we were speaking to Kush just a few minutes back, and he also said that Titan is always a buy call for him. Now, apart from from everything else being normal and business as usual, there is bound to be this added pressure of being part of a listed company and reporting audited figures quarter on quarter, every 6 months, every year, and being focused on, come what may, meeting those growth targets. Because if you don't, obviously the parent is likely to take a beating. So how does that pressure play out henceforth?
See, actually, Karthik, if you read the investor reports and the quarterly reports, there are always questions about CaratLane, which many of the analysts have been asking over the years, and I'm sure that somewhere it has always factored into somewhere in whichever minor and small way into the share price, etc. So it's always been there. But you're also right that going forward, because of the news, right, we have kind of always, flown under the radar in that sense, right? Because people generally, we are not the kind of startup which makes, other than this current development, so much news, because we don't have a valuation story all the time or something other which generally catches the attention of the media.
Now
So I
you have
think
a
definitely,
valuation story at $2 billion, 17,000 crore
yeah, so
rupees.
now there is going to be definitely more attention from the media and the analysts, I would say. But the questions about financial performance and business performance have always been there, at least in the analyst community. I think the media community will possibly ask more questions. But in terms of the performance, I actually nothing changes. There has always been, Titan as a brand has always been very performance driven, but the way they do it very well is that they do the short term as well as the long term things really well, which is why it's such a darling of the all kinds of stock investors. So I think there will be a little more attention because of the story, that people will pay more attention and talk more about it. But fundamentally, nothing changes over there as well, because it's already, like CaratLane is something which always gets questions in all of these forums. So from that point of view, I think there won't be a lot of change. I think consumers and the regular retail investors will possibly uh, want to follow more on what's going on, I think.
Right.
And while we want to follow that, do give us some headlines, Avnish. Your 1 year horizon, 3 year horizon, 5 year horizon.
What's
What
the
is that
plan
looking
looking
like?
like for the
The
next
path,
couple
like
of
I
years?
said, is that we are on the path to going and becoming a 10,000 crore company. That's the next milestone which we have. As far as if I talk to you in terms of financial performance, and obviously making sure that the P&L health and everything also just keeps getting better like it has over the last 5 years. In terms of a business thing, see, one important shift we are making in our business is that we want to move from a product focused company where the focus is only on the jewelry to become a solution focused company. And we have already started that path. In fact, if you go down to our new Indranagar store, which is our biggest store, you will really get to see what lies in store for the consumer going forward. A lot of new experiences which we're trying to create to make sure that we don't give you just the jewelry, but all the other experiential services which you need to make that occasion truly special for you. So that's in a way the business direction for the consumer. As far as the financial thing, I already mentioned that our next plan is to get to 10,000 crores, and everything is geared towards that.
Okay. Are we going to see more retail stores coming up, Avnish? Now that we're
Yes,
out
yeah,
of
actually opened
pandemic, there's been
85.
a focus on more, as I said, jewelry being a touch and feel product where people want to see what they're buying. I know CaratLane has made an exception to that and has been a successful company at that. But would you be opening up more retail stores now?
Actually, we opened 85 last year, and we want to open similar numbers this year, and at least the next 3 4 years going forward. Because based on our digital data, we know lots of pockets where there is very strong demand for the product, but where we don't have stores. So that is definitely going to happen, and that's one key lever of growth for us going forward, to make sure that we use the omni-channel framework to maximize this demand which we have created.
Okay.
And we're going into smaller and smaller towns. Matlab, I can give you
Could you
names like
name those
Kangra.
towns for us?
We have gone into Tirunelveli and Kangra and Vapi and all of these very, very small places.
Does that mean
Suffer.
demand is coming from down south more than up north?
No, no, it's not coming from down south. Mother Tirunelveli is definitely down south, but Vapi is in the western part of the country. Kangra is in the north. Muzaffarpur is in the east. So it's coming from all over. I was trying to give you an example of smaller towns. Typically, you would not expect, like a contemporary jewelry design company to have so much demand in these places. But these are all places where we are getting a lot of demand. Also, unlike the popular opinion, right, that it's only a young person's product, we get a lot of buyers who are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s as well. So I think there is universal demand in that sense for this kind of jewelry. So, which is why, whether it's not just in the urban locations anymore, it's really getting into the heart of this country.
And this 10,000 crore rupee target that you have, Avnish, how much of that is likely to come from online channels as opposed to offline channels and walk-ins into stores?
See, Karthik, actually, we stopped looking at the business like that a few years back. We only look at the business in terms of pin codes and catchments in cities. So I can only tell you that, so the top 500 pin codes obviously give us more than 60% of our business. I can tell you that the share of business from smaller towns will only keep increasing, because that's where the store density and the marketing actions, etc., are going to take place more and more as we go forward. But the way we do our business is that, the digital part plays a big role in creating desire and pushing people into the right channels for purchase. But most of the transactions actually happen in the stores. But that's the way the whole omni-channel journey is designed. And actually, 90% of the people who buy in the stores also have browsed in the previous 30-day window. So that's the way our entire omni-channel stack is designed. So we don't look at it as an online and an offline, or in terms of the revenue or the P&L, but they have a complementary role to play into making sure that right from desire creation to transaction and post-sales experience, they kind of work hand in glove.
Okay. Avnish, before we let you go, perhaps our final question for you. You briefly touched on how there will be a possibility of a greater synergy with Titan. What synergies are we looking at?
See, we already have great synergies on the brand, on supply, on the retail, on franchising networks. But there is a possibility for greater synergy in terms of people movement also possibly, and there are other areas on the supply chain side which are possible. So in that sense, and this is more 20,000 feet statement, but getting into the actual details of those areas are things which we have to go and figure out more. It's not that it's not happened in the past, but in the sense that now we are kind of going into more and more areas to see how we can make that happen. It also, because of this, as you scale up, right, you kind of start facing new challenges. To address those new challenges, you need to find new solutions. So it's not just because of the purchase of the stake. It's also because of the size and scale of the business and where we are in our journey, that we are seeking more places and more areas of synergy. Once your size of the business goes to a different level, the size of the partner network, your manufacturing also changes. And Titan, having done this at scale, right, all these years, so there's a lot of scale learning which will happen right now, which could happen across the board, whether it is from people, supply chain, retail, everywhere. Because I don't think there's any consumer company which has solved the scale problem better than Titan. So I think the learnings of scale are the most important area of synergy going forward.
All right, Avnish. Thanks very much for joining in. We will let you be and hopefully have a great blast at your home as you celebrate your wife's birthday. Thanks very much for taking time out this morning.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.